Welcome to the Radical Rhythm Podcast. This has been created for those of us that love radical women who live perhaps by the rules, but also question and challenge the status quo. We want more from our lives, to enjoy our sexuality, to explore radical thought, and to celebrate women who have lived and continue to live unconventional lives. Hi, I'm Dr. Toni Baer, sexologist, educator, activist, and definitely a radical woman. Thank you for joining me as I share stories of women challenging the status quo and living life to the fullest. Join me as we unapologetically march to the beat of a different drummer together. Well, welcome to the Radical Rhythm Podcast. This is Dr. Toni Baer, and I am thrilled today to bring my new bestest friend on with me today, Melanie McCool. Melanie, it was so great meeting you in Costa Rica. How did you end up there? I know how I ended up there. How did you end up in Costa Rica?
Well, in all honesty, I have been drawn to Costa Rica since about 2006. And I've just always known it's where I wanted to be. And a couple years back, I saw a vision of myself running retreats, full moon, ecstatic dance around fire, running retreats. And I just knew it had to be in Costa Rica. And I was like, oh, okay, that vision's going to come to reality. Don't know when. And turns out I had a client who owns a retreat house in Costa Rica. And that's exactly how I got to that retreat.
Wow. It's, the energies of the universe that kind of pulled all of us together, all 8 to 10 women, was, just magnificent. And meeting you has been wonderful. And I am learning things. I'm learning so many things. Can you tell our audience what you do for a living? And we'll go from there.
Well, sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I was really, excited to continue our conversations because it's just wonderful, absolutely wonderful to connect with you. And I am the entrepreneur's hypnotherapist. That's who I am. And essentially, I have been an entrepreneur myself since, 2000. And over that time, I've met tens of thousands of people, worked with thousands of people. And I saw the same patterns over and over again in people. And once I learned that the most efficient way for me to help them to facilitate a breakthrough so that they could have what they want out of life was hypnotherapy, I was like, well, that's what I'm going to do from now on. So I became a hypnotherapist a few years back. There's a bit more to that story, but it really was I was like, okay, there's all these patterns. The patterns I have solutions. I see the solutions to those patterns, and hypnotherapy is the way that I can most easily deliver that and give them what they want, which is to move freely in pursuit of their dreams.
That's great. My wife was trained a few years ago in hypnotherapy as a therapist, and I see the
Wow.
good that she's doing.
Yeah.
And I I learned about the good that you're doing. Um, and people do hypnotherapy and they have positive results. But I think you're extra special. So I wanted you to come on because I wanted our audience to learn about um, some of the things that you do because you really, in my opinion, think outside of the box. And one of the topics that we dove into in Costa Rica chatting about was sex transmutation.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that and what you do with sex transmutation?
Sure. So essentially, I do absolutely think outside of the box. I believe that most of the reasons is because I've studied such a great variety of subjects around self-actualization is really what we would just kind of lump them under. And What I've recognized is that there's so many incredible processes that have been used worldwide since the dawn of human, recording, whether it was passed down through our verbal traditions or through music or, and now in this incredible work that we have the information, right? And so this, so what I see are these ancient processes, and as a hypnotherapist, I can see they're clearly subconscious change work. I'm going to use that word change work rather than even saying hypnosis or working with the subconscious so much, because when you think about a lot of these different things like shamanic work and rituals, full moon rituals, indigenous rituals, whatever it is, it's change work, and it works. It actually does create transformation. So sex transmutation is taking the most powerful energy that we have as a human being, the energy of creation that was exhibited in our sex, literally the sexual reproduction, and it is taking that energy and using it to fuel your creativity, your magnetism, and really to keep the inspiration going so that you are in action in a way that feels really good to go after your dreams. So sex transmutation, actually, the word transmutation is an alchemist term, which means that we take one thing and we transform it into another. And energy is neither created nor destroyed, only transferred or transformed, right? So we're literally transforming this yes that exists in us. It exists in the flowers and everything. It's the big yes. And we're putting it towards our big yes.
Wow. So when you do work with sex transmutation, what would that look like? Can you give me an example?
Yeah, well, what it looks like in a healthy system, we'll start there, and then we can perhaps touch on some of the ways that things can get the energy can be blocked, right? And is that essentially, I believe that if you've got a healthy sexuality and a healthy connection to your body, which is really important, that you have felt this feeling. And it's just a matter of recognizing what it is, okay? And essentially, it feels kind of like you're turned on, but it's about like work. It's like,
Wow, don't let the managers find out the secret.
it's not literally like, same kind of turned on, but it definitely feels like, oh yeah, cool, this is great, I can't wait, I want to do it. Or it kind of feels like, at the best heightened piece of it is like when you were a teenager and you were out of your mind with that wanting, and you feel that way about what you get to do for work. That's so we work with that. First of all, we identify it, we wake it up, we allow it. This is number one. And then you direct it. You direct it in a way that's and then that's where the hypnosis piece comes in, because it's a form of self-hypnosis to allow it to work for you.
Right. So I had never been hypnotized. It's something that I've resisted. I'm like a control freak of my own self, right? And it's a trust issue, right?
Sure.
So, and I doubted that maybe someone could do this over the internet, right? That it needs to be in person. So I tried your one self-hypnosis, and you talk us through. And I can tell you it made me feel good. That
Yes.
I know. I felt good. And then I have to confess, I fell asleep at the end. Now, I don't give up that much control even to fall asleep during a video. And then I had, when I woke up, I felt great, like the best rest that I've ever had. And then I had to go backwards and listen to the end to see what you put in my head during that time. I thought, is it for the good of humanity, or did she, what did she say? I know it felt
Is
good.
that always the question? Like, as if that's funny.
I can't wait to do your program. I signed up for your course.
Yeah.
Because one of the greatest blocks I know I've had in the past and meeting you has been such a positive experience for me, is the whole concept of money
Yeah.
and and prosperity.
Hmm.
And you know, I've been seeing a therapist for a decade, and we talk about it, and she says, "Stop giving away your stuff for free." And again and again, well, it's not working, right?
Hmm.
How does this work with hypnosis and prosperity? I know I'm skipping from sex transmutation, but I
But
promise to
it's
come
not
back.
because
Yeah.
that's because it's part of my work there, right? And in fact, sex transmutation is almost like it's the next level of it, because so many people do come through my program for prosperity work, which is around, it's prosperity, but it definitely is focused on money, right? It's about the money issues that have been passed down for generations, literally like what I call the lies of the world. So one of the most major blocks to prosperity and money is a any kind of shame, guilt, depression of the sexual drive, or the drive is not even, it's not even a sex drive, you know this. The sexual impulse. And essentially, if you find that you have had it, okay, sorry, let me take a step back. Many women that I work with, they find that they get some improvement in their finances and their money with you working with the traditional types of things: money, health, family, or and I do this because we pick 3 hard areas to work with, right? That's what this is going on. And but so many of them are unwilling to look at the biggest area that's going to make the biggest difference in their money, and that is sex. That is their sexuality, that is their expression of sex, that is their way they feel about their body, and whether or not they're actually in their body. That is the biggest block to financial freedom. Having said that, just being all about sex isn't all it takes to make money either. Right? So
Right?
clearly, it's just like
Unless you're a
what
sex worker, of course.
that would be great.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. There you go. That would be but it's like one of my rules for life is the more fun I have, the more money I make. And it works because they go together in my work. So we're using self-hypnosis to literally link them together. It's not true that people who have tons of fun automatically make lots of money. That'd be silly to say, right?
Mhm.
Right. But if you already have the entrepreneurial mind, or the investor mind, or whatever it is, it's the money motivated mind, and then you link them together, it works. That's how sex transmutation works with money, is that when you purposely use it to impregnate your ideas with the best energy possible, the ideas that are money makers. So you're purposely taking that energy and directing it towards the financial. So in anyone's case, it would be, okay, I've got this beautiful goal, this juicy goal. It's got zeros on the end of it, right? It's got zeros on the end of it because that's how I make the biggest impact on the planet, right? And then you can feel that feels like a big yes, right? So that's where we direct the energy of sex to that goal. Okay. So, and it could be creation of any kind, but that's worth saying, because this can be totally directed towards the creative, whether it's an artist, a musician, an architect. Okay. This energy is the energy of creation itself. So it can go towards any venture. I just happen to work with entrepreneurs and money. So it's all about that. And yeah, when you can sit down or stand up in front of a crowd and feel that vibrant charisma that comes from that, you won. You win. In fact, most salespeople are actually using it unawares. And that's also, unfortunately, why people often feel like the salesperson's hitting on them.
Oh, wow.
Because
I
there's this
didn't know
whole
that.
like, there's this whole energy that's going on that they may not even be aware of, but they're using it. It is that charisma, it is that piece of us. Yeah.
Mhm. Wow. So I established 3 goals for myself in
Yes.
2021,
Yeah.
right?
Cool.
And I might have these 3 goals the rest of my life. I don't know, but they're important to me. So every single morning I write down 3 words: growth, attraction, and abundance,
Okay.
right? That I want to grow and learn every day.
Yeah.
What am I going to learn today? Like, what's
Mhm.
my intention?
Beautiful.
Attraction, meaning charisma.
Yes.
Um, what am I going to attract into my world today, intending for that attraction to happen? And abundance, what am I going to experience today in just the joy of life, like the
Yeah.
abundance of that type of energy every day?
And that's beautiful. But here's where I feel like a lot of people are afraid
Mhm.
to use the word wealth. Use the word, because yes, we do want abundance in all of the things. I mean, the
Right.
beautiful weather and the taste of something delicious, this is all abundance. It's the joy of life. This is really what we're looking for. But you know, and I know that in order to have a whole lot more of that, a lot of wealth is going to be really useful. And you deserve to have that at the highest level that's available as a human being. If it's humanly possible, you allow it in. And so, really, people are afraid to ask for wealth or for money, use the word riches. Do it. Allow those words in your life. Start to and feel which ones feel icky, right? Which
Yeah.
ones feel like, "Urgh," and then work it out and go, and okay, I'm gonna have this word have a good energy for now. One of the ones that I find is funny that people have a problem with is work. I love the word work, but that's because I've decided to love the word work. I
Okay.
love work because I
That
love
was
my
gonna
work.
be my next question. Is one of the things that made an impression upon me when I met you
Mhm.
is the importance of language.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Yes,
that,
a
you
thousand
know,
percent. Yes.
some of us would say abundance, and you're like, "Let's talk wealth,"
Let's talk
right?
wealth. Yeah.
Right?
Let's talk about
And you did
money.
that with other words, like,
Yes.
you flipped a lot of our sentences, like,
Yes.
because people phrase them in the negative
Mhm.
rather than the positive. Are there
Exactly.
any pointers you would give our audience about the language that they use and the importance of it?
Yes, I see, you said something at the very beginning of this that I could have flipped for you. I can't remember what it was.
I
But
appreciate you
what
didn't, because I would have lost my
no, no,
train.
no, but no, but essentially, whenever there's an away from, it's an away from sentence, it's a goal, away from goal, or it's a or if you use the word not, like I don't want to be XYZ. Your subconscious mind was formed before there was language. Language is really important, but the subconscious mind was formed before there was language. So it doesn't understand negatives. So, like, if I say not pen, you can't not see my pen, right? Can't. And so, whatever comes after not is the subject of the sentence, and it's what your focus remains on. So, if you say, I don't want to be stressed, the subject line of the sentence is stress, and that's what you're focused on. And so, you're trying to focus on a problem to solve a problem. I don't want to be stressed. I got to solve this problem of not being stressed. It doesn't work that way. So we turn it, we flip that. So whether it's a negative word or the word is a negative, you're going to take it and you go, well, what do I actually want? So if you don't want to be stressed, you want to be what? What do you want?
Happy.
Happy, at peace,
Mhm.
joyful, chill, even like your whatever your version of the opposite of what you were thinking of is. And you take it to that and you go, well, how can I have more, peace in my life, in my day? How can I be more peaceful right now? What's the evidence that I can be peaceful in this moment? And you
Mhm.
let your brain do that, and it will serve you all day long. If you're the fighting a negative, it is of It is the least efficient thing we could do with this brilliant human brain that we actually have been given. That when you can learn to flip the script and instead go for what you want, that is really, I mean, this is a it's like magical. It really is. That's why I'm so big about language. And sex transmutation, well, we're flipping a lot of scripts right there. There's a lot of taboos. There's a lot of things that go on that come up in women's minds and everybody's mind, but especially there's just so many pieces of it. And that those scripts get flipped all day long so that you can use it. You've got to see them, hear them, and flip them. And it's a really empowering thing. You never know.
I was going to say power because it was so empowering that you did that with a group of us in Costa Rica.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. And you don't even know what the potential is, Toni, because like I think of the whatever's going on in your brain that's keeping you small as like having a flat tire. So if your issue was having shame or about your body or sex or any of those areas, right? So if you're wanting to work with sex transmutation, but you've got a flat tire in some area there, you have no idea where your car can even go once that flat tire is fixed. You've never driven your freaking car without the flat tire. So what happens when you get that one fixed? You don't even know. You don't
Right.
even know you don't even know what's ahead of you on the road. Your car has always had a flat tire until you do the work.
In fact, I was just talking on a call this morning about that, about a situation where someone doesn't know what they don't know.
Yes.
So how
Yes.
would you be able to even have a conversation about something that you've never experienced and never have seen,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. So language was one thing that, you know, seemed very important. And the other part that I will never forget is that you like to dance and
Yeah.
that dancing is important to you. Why do you dance? What is the dance um how is that integrated in your being and what you do?
I'm going to answer it in the weirdest way possible first,
Thank you.
which is when I ask my wisdom, whether you call it higher self, doesn't even matter. When I said, what is it that is required of me in order for me to make the biggest impact? What's required of me? And the only answer that came back was keep dancing. Okay.
Mhm.
So, in other words, like the more I dance, the more my life force in its expression gets to grow. So that's one of the reasons that I dance. And I was like that's really all that's required of me is to keep dancing. Okay, I could do that. So dancing for me is a form, you might call it a form of prayer. It's my form of saying yes to this life, this body, this experience that I don't know, I'm here for. Um, and I do, and it absolutely is embodiment. This is a huge, beautiful word. But when we can embody our entire experience, when we can be in connection, actually in our bodies, as well as allowing this body to do what it's doing in the 3D, it's an incredibly powerful thing. And I don't know, dance was taken from us in so many cultures in so many ways. It's time we took it back. That's how
Wow,
I feel. Yeah.
that's beautiful. I mean, I had an episode of Radical Rhythm a couple months ago called The Story of the Snake.
Mm.
And I am sitting next to actually in my office here a cobra um, that was living at one time, but continues to live through the ages of. And this is my portal for ancient wisdom. And I told the story and how it was gifted to me. Um, your answer about the dancing and wisdom seems like dance might be the modality by which wisdom comes to you.
Mm,
You also mentioned in an earlier conversation about sex mutation, transmutation, and ancient wisdom.
yeah.
Can you connect that for us?
Yeah. Well, these ancient hypnosis processes, whether they're in ritual, and I mean, many of them are definitely hypnosis processes. If you think about the sitting around a fire, whether you're exchanging some kind of smoking device or even just the fire and the dancing and the drumming, this is trance. And there's so many rituals that are done around that that are meant for change work, right? So sex transmutation is one of these ancient processes. And the only real written things that I've seen about it are written for men, and in ways that are really not even relevant for women, which is really darn cool, because they all talk a lot about, like, holding back their semen as part of this, as if you had to hold back the physical expression of your sex in order to use it, which makes sense in the cognitive, but it makes absolutely no sense in the realm of creation and our manifestation, not just for men, not just for women, but for men too. It's almost like it feels to me that that paradigm is like a superstitious thing. Like, well, if you hold back your sex, the seed, then you can put your seed into the creation in the 3D or in the real world. You know what I mean? That's how they thought of it. But men don't even have to do that. They don't have to hold back their orgasms. That makes no sense whatsoever. No. that's my take on it. But it's just
Um,
something that has literally, it goes back to I believe it's the Taoist traditions. It's in the texts. So
yeah,
it's definitely ancient, but
yeah,
it's
and
incredibly potent for us, and I think more important to unpack than ever because of the stupid taboos and stuff that have screwed people up about sex. So it was about time. Hey, it's bad enough that people go through a lifetime wrapped up in those taboos, but they don't even realize that it's blocking the most powerful creative force that they have, because when it comes up in them, instead of saying yes, they go, ooh, no, let me push that down. I can't desire that. Desires literally get crushed. So whether it's the desire for sex or it's the desire for the success, the vacation that you want, whatever it is, it's literally a suppression of desires. And it is, and if you've got a suppression of sex energy, then you're very likely suppressing many of your impulses to go after what you desire.
makes sense. Makes sense. And I've read something similar from ancient times and ancient thoughts
Yeah.
and Taoism, tantric sex.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, ancient ideas.
Ancient. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. You are in the Tampa area?
Yeah. I'm just outside of Tampa Bay and on the Nature Coast. Yeah.
Okay. And if someone wanted to contact you, like they've been listening to us and they're so interested, how would they get a hold of you?
They can actually find me at melanie-mccool.com, or on Facebook through social media. And you can find just about anywhere you'd find me online, you will find an entryway into the topics that I help people to understand, to make those changes so they can live their juicy dream life, as I say.
And your thoughts about the future, your thoughts about how we can make a better world. I mean, it seems that you operate in a spiritual world and 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 you bring it in a concrete way for your clients and the people that surround you. Um, how do you think, we move into the future and we make a better world? What can we do as individuals?
Well, first of all, you understand yourself and use the reason why it sounds concrete, or it is concrete, is because I'm using neuroscience. The neuroscience of success really is what we're using. We're changing the way we feel so that we can change the way we act, right? Change the way you think, so you change the way you feel, which changes the way you act, which creates your future. And so for any of us who are really committed to having a better world, in my humble opinion, it's going to come from a whole lot of really incredible people making a whole lot more money, and their money making the difference. And so my vision is incredible people making a whole lot more wealth and investing them in ways that change the world for the better. So for me, my passion is bio and ethnic diversity. Like, keep the people where they are, and keep the wilderness intact. And this is the beauty that is planet Earth that we get to live on. And so my money gets to go plant money trees that support things like that. But it's whatever whatever you consider to be that better world, the best way to create it is to, let your dollars count.
Fantastic.
And
Melanie,
that all comes from the best people, of course.
of course, of course.
The most amazing people who are doing the work to be more loving, amazing, charismatic, magnetic humans. Yeah.
Well, I am absolutely grateful, Melanie, for you spending this time with us today. And I never believe in coincidences. I think I met you in Costa Rica for a reason, and I can't wait for it to manifest.
Yeah, for it to continue to unfold. Our potential expands as we move towards it.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care, Toni.
Thank you for listening to the Radical Rhythm podcast today. It has truly been my pleasure to invite guests and talk to you about my passion, the joy in our sexuality, and radical women who march to the beat of a different drum. If you'd like to work with me, Dr. Toni Baer, I have a community where I give seminars every month. I also have a coaching program, both group and individual, and also a course, a self-directed course, because it's all about experiencing the joy life has to offer. I'd love to work with you. Check out my link below, www.tonibaeredd.com. See you next week, and don't let anyone dim your shine.